decision making is a process of selecting one alternative out of various alternatives. So if managers, no matter at what level they are working in, if they are supposed to work in an organization where they got to make the decision making, no matter if they are at the top level, middle level, or the front line, no matter at what level they are in, if they are in a position where they got to make one choice out of various alternatives at the disposal of them, the decision may be regarding, let's say, selecting one employee out of 50 who have applied for a job. The decision could be picking one supplier out of many suppliers who are ready to supply the material for you. The decision could as well be which employee you want to promote in an organization. The decision could as well be about what type of a product and how many markets do you have to enter into. The decision could as well be what are the policy changes that you need to bring in the organization. No matter at which level you're working in, top, middle level, or the front line, decision making is an integral part of planning which a manager makes. So that's the reason why I said before, out of all the functions of management, if you look at the functions of management as planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling, planning and controlling are considered as the twin functions of management, and planning and decision making are considered as closely interrelated, because without, if a manager is making a plan, he's making a decision about what course of action he wants to take about something. So planning and decision making are totally interrelated with each other. And I also mentioned before that the quality of decisions of a manager are going to literally decide the quality of the manager itself. So the decision-making quality is going to decide whether the manager is a good manager or not. In the process of decision-making, where you're picking one alternative out of the various alternatives, we've seen the process of decision-making, where a manager is responsible for identifying the problem or spotting the opportunities. He's going to develop the objectives and the criteria that he is going to follow in order to make a decision. So that's the rules that he's going to set for decision making. Based on the rules, the manager is going to select various alternative solutions, and pick a solution, which we've seen in the previous class. Implementing it and later checking how the impact of the decision making is, which is a feedback, is also a part of the decision making process. So in the decision making process, what we do is we generate alternatives and we select one alternative out of various alternatives. And this is the reason why, because we are selecting one alternative out of various alternatives, that means if you're having 5 and you got to pick one, the opportunity cost is the cost of sacrificed alternatives, in this case 4. You're sacrificing 4 alternatives and you're selecting one. The opportunity cost should not be higher when you're making decisions. That means you need to make the right decisions for an organization and eliminate the chance of an opportunity cost, or rather you got to reduce the cost or the opportunity cost for a company. When and how would the quality of decision making be good? The quality of decision making is going to be good depending on the availability of information. So it's no rocket science. If the quality of decisions that you take have to be good, the quantum of information that you require should also be more. The lesser the information, the greater the speculation in decision making. The more the information, you are having too much data with you. So therefore, you got to find out what is the relevant information that is going to help you in decision making. So too much of information is also going to lead to a chaos. Too little information is also going to lead to a problem, because that is going to lead to a limited decision making. While too much of information is going to lead to an overflow of information. So therefore, you also need to know what information to screen out and what information to consider. But nonetheless, for decision making, one has to remember that the quality of information is important, and information that a manager receives for making the decision is going to affect the quality of decision that he's going to make. So it is important and vital to look for all the sources from where you are going to get the information pertaining to the decision. And that's the first part when we are talking about identification of the problem. When you're identifying the problem or when you're spotting the opportunity, all that you're going to be good at, if you are spotting the right problem and the opportunity, is that can only happen with the availability of information. The greater the paucity of information, the greater would be the chances that you are operating under high level of uncertainty. And whenever decision making is taken under high level of uncertainty, remember, the outcomes are not clear. And when the outcomes are not clear, you will only know the fatality or the failure after you start executing it. Any type of decisions that managers make, or whenever planning is done by the managers, you got to measure, or you should be able to measure the outcomes. So if you are not able to see the outcomes, that means there's too much of an uncertainty looming over the decision making. If you are trying to look at the information and see to eliminate at least certain part of uncertainties and see the probabilities of outcomes, that can only happen with the availability of information.